Kubor nakaslem jong unongsan Hima.
Ka Skill Online Games Institute Sogi hagathong bar ka jing thmu ban pen mi ikilna jing tip ke be dei bar ki Kyntiew ni ki online games industry ka ba kinthom nadu ki jing tip ki jing wat bnya ki jing mon ki jing bishar ba biang bat ka kom long jong ka khajna kala pen long da ka jing yalang ban pen smot paj ba minta ka sngi ka khat ar ta ku jeleo ar jar ar pusaw havi vanta hotel haga be dei bar ki Jingïalehkai ba pher Habaya keren berkilat pathai kubor. Nakal yang founder president jong Skill Online Games Institute u Amrit Kiran Singh ulaong baha kejingnya keren bat ki players. U menteri rang ba adu kari ula batai syapang kejing don kam ni ka sarkar ban sngoto ya ka online gaming industry bat dan kam ban ai kejing kersan ban pen kela bat Kyntiew ya ka ni ka kam. Shushu u Amrit ulaong ru ba ka thong ka ba kham he kalong ban pen wan ya ka India ka kerdan ka ba syakman kum ka slim na ka benta ka digital entertainment kabakinthop ru ya ka online gaming kani ka jingi ijngai ka kinthop nado ka basna ya ki AVCG lani ki animation VFX gaming comics Lyngba ki kinhon jong Ministry of Information and Broadcasting ka jingi tho ya ka Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology kum ka nodal ministry but ka jing pri tho ya ka regulatory frameworks Lyngba ki kindon jong ka IT u Amrit Kiran Singh ula ong ru kat bagi India kadang le kemen halor ke jing yar ba jing la trai kam jong ki online gaming industry hakari dai ru ban sngo tho halor ki jing e bat ki jing thot ki ba wan lang ka khajna ka ba ar pu pra percent kalong ka we ni ki jing e bat jing re ka ba ta yu kom yo nong bat ki jing kin show pisa haki benta ba pher
The Skill Online Games Institute. It's but before that, I'd like to tell you about the industry because you can understand why the Skill Online Games Institute in reference to the industry. Yeah. So the online games industry is probably the largest industry in the world today. Definitely so in the entertainment space. But even across industries, it's one of the fastest growing and largest industries in the world today, with a huge potential to create jobs and allow companies to grow to enormous sizes. Just to give you an idea, the movie industry in the world, if you add Hollywood, Bollywood, whatever happens in England, France, Spain, Portugal, Tollywood in India, Telugu, cinema, all together is 42 billion US dollars worth, right? The music industry worldwide is 19 billion. So if you add the two together, it's roughly 62 billion. Do you know what the size of the online game industry is in the world already? The size of the online games industry is 159 billion, almost 3x, 3 times the size of the movie and the music industry put together. And it is growing at a much faster rate than the music and movie industry. And therefore, in 2 years, it is likely to be 5 times the size of the worldwide movie industry and music industry put together. That's how big this industry is, right? That's how big this industry is. Now, the problem with this industry is that it's a new industry, and therefore there is not enough information about the facts and figures of this industry. So by the time you go from here, I want to give you a master class on what this industry is all about. I want you to give you a context in the size of the industry in India is 3.5 billion US dollars, and it has created over 2 lakh jobs. So if we can move from 1%, and this is just 1%, if we move from 1% and grow it to 5%, you can imagine how many jobs in India it can create, and therefore, and how much it can contribute to the GDP. And we therefore think it is extremely important that this industry is given the right kind of importance, and we have been talking to the government. This industry in India is only 5 years old, but already companies like Gamescraft, Dream11, etc. have got huge valuations, and they're doing very well. In the Prime Minister's startup ecosystem, there are 400 profitable online gaming companies. Right? Like I said, we've come to 3.5 billion, created about 2 lakh jobs and 75%, and we believe that unless we score self goals, we can easily go to 5 to 10% market share of the world because we have talent in IT. And the self goals in this industry will be over regulation and over taxation, or both. So if we over regulate or we overtax, we will be scoring a self goal. The industry is at the same point, at the same inflection point that the IT industry was in the 90s, right? IT industry in the 90s, where the IT industry which has transformed India, which has transformed India's image abroad as a professional, intelligent nation with high IQ. In the 90s was at a similar inflection point. And the way the government regulated this industry, handled this industry, taxed this industry, ensured that we have milked IT for the last 3 decades from the 90s, right? And we continue to milk IT. Now what we do with the online gaming industry going forward in terms of regulation, taxation, will determine whether we can milk the online gaming industry for the good of India in the same way or not, right? Now, it's 5 years old. This industry had no recognition from the government. So in 2022, we went to the government and told them all this. And the government of India appointed a task force of nine ministries to determine who will be the nodal ministry for this industry. And at the end of 2022, the government decided that the Ministry of IT and Electronics, MeitY, will be the nodal ministry for this industry. So that was the first thing that they did. The MeitY, the Ministry of IT and Electronics, then came out with some draft regulations to regulate this industry. And in March of 2023, they actually notified the regulations for this industry. And the regulations are very good, are very encouraging. They have a self-regulating body it has a provision for a self-regulating body that will regulate this industry. Everything has been going fine, but suddenly October 1st, 2023, the government decided to increase the GST on this industry. Just to give you an example, if the four of us are playing, 1, 2, 3, 4, and each of us, and we decide to play rummy or bridge or whatever online, and we all put 100 rupees each, right? The platform takes 10 rupees from that 100 rupees for its service fee for providing you a platform. You don't play against the platform, we will play against each other. But because the platform is provided to play this game, the platform owner takes 10 rupees from the 100 rupees. So he takes 10 rupees. Now 90 rupees is left, 90 mine, 90 yours, 90 yours, 90 yours, 360 rupees. 90 into 4, 360 rupees. Who knows how to play whatever it is? If you're playing bridge, who of the four of us whose skill is better in bridge, he wins, he takes 360 rupees. Right? He takes 360 rupees. TDS is deducted by the platform and given to the government. And the government is told, so and so, what is your name? Sir? So what is your name? Name?
Starfy.
Huh?
Starfy.
Starfy. Starfy, we tell the government, Mr. Starfy has won 360 rupees. So when his income tax is paid, he will pay his income because this is an income, right? So what was the GST? I'm telling you this example because I want to explain to you how GST was being paid earlier. Now, the 10 rupees that we got, the company got, 10 hours if a person plays 10 hours of online games in a week, he will get addicted. We can actually lock the person out through technology, because in online games, when you put any money, you have to do KYC. KYC we have agreed already in the regulations that KYC will be at the level of the RBI guidelines, the highest level, right? So your Aadhaar card is there, all those details are there, PAN card details are there. So if a person if the government and the experts and the industry decides that if somebody has played 10 or 14 or 15 hours, or whatever that number is, we can actually lock out the player that he cannot play after he's reached that, right? So to check in other industries you can do nothing. In fact, take alcohol industry. Alcohol industry is also bad for people. But what can you do? You cannot do anything. Only you can put a slogan: drinking is injurious to health. In some state they'll say excessive drinking is injurious to health. But you can't do anything. People who eat burgers, etc., where there is processed foods, trans fats kill you. But you can't do anything about it. But here, you can actually do something about addiction by actually using technology tools to lock people out at whatever the hours the government decides. So there is no reason to look at it from a moral standpoint and raise taxes to discourage people from playing. You can do it through technology. Now the problem when you raise taxes like you have raised just now is, if I don't know how many of you watch IPL. Do you watch IPL? Is it popular here? So if you watch IPL, you will see so many ads coming on television, and they are from all kinds of websites. Industry, which is huge and it can really help India create jobs, huge number of jobs. Like I said, at 1% it has created 2 lakh jobs and 3.5 billion. And this is the biggest, this is 3x of the movie and music industry put together. So it's a very big, a very big source of that can give the Indian government a boost for job creation and to increase its GDP. There's all this talk of 5th largest economy, etc. But what really matters is GDP per capita. Unless we can increase the GDP of average Indian, just talking about being the 5th largest economy in the world is not of any. So these things, this industry needs to be nurtured, and for that we have created the Skill Online Games Institute, which is a repository of all the information worldwide on this skill game industry. So what the Skill Online Games Institute has done is basically scanned the whole world's data for this industry. It has put it on a website. It has industry, the information in terms of regulation, in terms of taxation, in terms of mental health studies that have been done on mental health and gaming, every facet of the industry. And to create India-specific data, this is worldwide data, but to create India-specific data, the Skilled Online Games Institute has tied up with the Indian Institute of Technology, has tied up with the Indian Institute of Management, IIMs, IITs, and NUJS Calcutta, the National Institute of Judicial Sciences, to create data specific to India, so that you can help the government make more educated decisions rather than knee-jerk reactions of saying it will cause addiction and therefore increase the taxation to whatever, which I explained to you. Increase the taxation by 1,000%. You can check what on Skill Online Games on the basis of research, and we have a wonderful advisory board that consists of Yash Sinha, who was the Chief Information Commissioner of India. Before that, he was the India's High Commissioner in London, in the UK, and before that in Sri Lanka. We have Dr. Balhara, who is the head of mental health at the AIIMS, All India Medical Institute. We are looking for a cyber security expert on the panel. We have Shivani Jha, who is the representatives of the 500 million gamers in India, because we want SOJI to work in such a way that we have a 360 degrees inputs from all people who can actually meaningfully contribute. So we have a players representative, the biggest players association's president is on the advisory board. The industry associations, AIGF's CEO is on the advisory board. So we have industry representation, we have cyber security, we have mental health, and we have a person like Yash Sinha who brings in the foreign perspective, India, a foreign relations perspective. So all these people, it's a worldwide industry, and all these Indian companies are trying to register overseas, and in the UK, in Dubai, in Brazil, they have created a lot of wealth for India in the last 5 years, and they're now looking to expand. So that's the Skill Game Online Games Institute. We, in fact, Shillong should be happy for a change, because we have started this education and informing people. We did the first one in Calcutta, the second one we're doing here. We're doing Ahmedabad and Bombay next week, and then we're doing the north. So we've started up with the east, and we've selected Shillong as the second place that we have actually gone out and reached out to the press and reached out to the people, because we believe that all governments do work what they believe is the electorate wants them to do. So understanding this industry and knowing the potential of this industry and how it can benefit and the negatives can actually be curbed. There are practical ways of actually curbing and mitigating the negative parts is what I wanted to bring to the fore as SOJI. And telling you that this is an industry for young people. The fact that 2 lakh jobs have been created, the vast majority of people involved in this industry are young people. Most of the CEOs of these companies are 36-year-old people who've studied at IITs or some of the bigger ones, are just graduates who've started these companies. And it's completely, I mean, almost 80% of the players are people who are below the age of 35. And the industry is a very young and nascent industry, so it's a great place for people to start building the future, learning coding and making a career in it. But it has vast potential for just creating jobs and wealth, and therefore we need to nurture it like we nurtured the IT industry. So the Skill Game Online Games creates a newsletter companies platforms. They're going and playing on Chinese Macau platforms, and so you're killing your own industry by this policy, and therefore you need to be careful. So when we're doing the review, I'm saying to the government, let's not do a review knee-jerk just because it has increased short. That's a very limited ambition. This is the goose that lays the golden egg. This would be a very limited. What the government should do is actually get ICREER or one of the respected think tanks to do the full research on this industry. They can cooperate. We can cooperate with the government agency that does the research. Do a full review. Get all the facts. Educate the people from the state finance ministers who come for the GST Council meeting, and then take a call on what the taxation for this industry should be going forward.
So at present, have you approached the state government?
So I have, the Honorable Mr. Sangma has been the chairman of the online gaming group of ministers for making recommendations. He has been very sympathetic. I have met with him several times, and they've also looked at how to increase the infrastructure here to attract companies to come here. So yeah, we've been talking to people and we're giving them. But the fact was that there wasn't information when we started. When the GST Council did its work, there wasn't enough information. This was like in 2022. And now there's a lot of information on the size, on how it can be, how the negative addiction, etc., can be curbed. Also a framework for what is gambling and what is skill games. For example, if you look at the whole type of games that there are in online gaming, you have chess, bridge, rummy, poker at one side, and you have roulette, which is a casino game on the other. Now, obviously, chess is a skill game. You have to have skill in all these, your bridge and rummy, etc. The casino games require no skill. It is gambling, right? So there needs to be a framework as to what will qualify as a skill game and what will qualify as a game of chance, non-skill game. For that, we are working with IIT that's creating, SOJI is working with IIT to create this framework for us, which we will give to the government so that once that is agreed, then it makes things very simple. You can treat skilled online games separate from chance games. So we are going to provide all that framework. That's what I'm just telling you. That's a very good question actually, because it shows you why SOJI. SOJI is doing all this already ahead of the time to create this framework through IITs because the government needs it, and then work with the government to fine tune it and decide. Because I'll tell you, it's not so simple. You know what is this thing? Have you heard of Virat Kohli? Everybody here? He plays cricket. Cricket is a game of skill, 100%. Any doubt? Cricket is a game of skill.
Yes.
But Virat gets out for 0 also. So there's an element of chance in a game of skill, right? But if the element of chance is, say, that's what we have, and industry and government have to decide with IITs, etc. What will qualify as a game of skill? Up to 10% chance? Because 100% chance is gambling, casino, roulette. There's no skill there. Turn a dice and where it stops, you will get the money, right?
So in the state of Meghalaya, we have a local game called it's archery.
Archery.
It's
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
sort of gambling.
Yeah.
Can this archery be turned as a skill game?
Absolutely, it can be. If cricket can be, then why can't it be?
So will SOJI take an initiative?
Yeah, we can get a companies because this whole industry is, one I said is borderless. The second important facet of this industry is innovation. There's so many companies worldwide now in America, in India, in China, and they're all competing with each other, and they need to be ahead of one another. So there's so much innovation happening. For example, there's PUBG game. What is it called now? Its name has changed. Anyway, PUBG.
Battleground.
Huh?
Battleground.
Correct, battleground. So now Indian companies are creating. So Prime Minister in his Mann Ki Baat said that people's lifestyles have become digital. Everything that we are doing, we're making payment through digital. We are buying tickets digital. We are doing this. So he said people's lifestyles have become digital. So their entertainment also has become digital, and therefore we shouldn't fight it. But he has said that you need to make. So Prime Minister said you need to increase our soft power through games. So some of the gaming companies are making games that will compete with Battleground, etc. on the Bangladesh war, where Indian heroes created, General Aurora, etc. will be made into heroes where they will actually play, you will actually fire guns and Bofors guns and play all that. So it has to be very realistic. It costs a lot of money if you want to make it as realistic. So if somebody fires the Bofors gun, he must get the same ricochet. That's how realistic it has to be. So the AVGC and money is spent, it's made by big studios now. So you need a lot of money to make good games. But the thing is that, to answer your question on archery, the innovation is required. So people want to try out new games all the time. So one end is that whole, like I said, on war games, etc. But also sports. So you've made games on cricket, football, etc. You can make a game on archery. So we can get our experts and come down, sit down, and see how we can make, just like cricket, archery teams, etc. How you can make it into a game which can be bring it and add all the exciting features to make it a commercial game on online. We can do that. If us to do that, we'd be very happy to help.
So here in archery,
If you have an employment exchange here and they reach out to the gaming companies, we can be the bridge. So the big gaming companies, Dream11, Gamescraft, etc., give them a direct access to the HR of these companies, so that they can undergo training in coding and then get jobs. It may not happen in Shillong, but these boys and girls can go and get jobs in Bangalore and Hyderabad, etc. So if there is an employment exchange of the government, SOJI can come and help and give you all the addresses and contacts of the HR people of the department, so that people can send in their biodatas, etc., and get trained and become coders in these companies. Lots can be done. Lots isn't. At the moment, there isn't, and good question. This framework can actually, which we are working on with IITs, the skill versus chance framework, which I was telling you about. There is casino games and roulette on one end and bridge and chess on the other. And where do we draw the line to say this is skill? Because all games also have a little component of chance. So the government has to decide how much will be chance and how much will be skill, right? So if a skill game, where the courts have already said that, rummy, bridge, etc., poker are games of skill. The Supreme Court, High Court, all judgments have already come. In addition to that, if the government decides that skill games with 10% chance will be considered skill games, anything beyond 10%, 15 and 100% will all be, then it gives the government a tool to decide how much to tax whom. If it's a skill game that can, today people, I don't know if you've heard, did you hear the film Monsoon Wedding? Monsoon Wedding was a film made by Meera Nair. Have you heard of Meera Nair? Meera Nair's brother is an exporter, Siddharth Nair, and his son has come from INSEAD, right? He was working for American Express before that, and then went to INSEAD, came back, and now he's a professional poker player. He earns lakhs a month playing online poker. There are poker tournaments. So just like cricket has become a job, online gaming is becoming a job, skilled online gaming. So you can get better. We are doing, SOJI is doing a paper with Harvard University, and IIM is also involved in that, where we are saying, take Rummy. If Rummy is a game of skill, what are the 4 or 5 things that you need to focus on to improve your chances of winning? Just like in cricket, you do batting practice on the front foot, back foot, etc. What are the 4 factors, key factors, while playing Rummy, that if you excel in, improve your skill on, dropping cards, picking up cards, things like that, packing up at the right time, that can make you successful at Rummy. Why Harvard is interested is because they're going to use it as a tool for improving people's risk-taking abilities. Managers' risk-taking abilities through these games. They are trying to correlate and make it interesting to teach them risk-taking abilities as CEOs, as senior managers, etc. Through the same Aadhaar card and your PAN card, etc., and the controls, the regulations that can be brought in, you can control any money laundering, any control. I'm not saying zero. You can control all the fraud, because this is a cyber platform where you can actually put in lockouts, checks, balances, etc. You can make it as secure as possible, and yet there will be frauds. But today, banks also, bank transactions are going on. There is some percentage of fraud which the banks live with. So, and that's the other thing that's very important, is that if you lock yourself out of games, all these things are related. Like you said, the technology for bank transfers, for digital payments, etc., you will, as a nation, fall back, because these games and all the payment tools, digital payments, etc., are also interlinked. That if you fall out of staying at the cutting edge, you will lose in terms of technology war, where India has always been ahead in IT. So it's very important that we take care of this high potential industry, because it also has cross linkages into other industries. Change, it was 18% on the platform fee, on the 10 rupees on the platform fee. Now it is 28% on CEA, the competition entry amount. We are not worried about, if it was 28% on platform fee, no problem. I mean, it's not a good thing, it's the highest slab, but that's fine. I mean, still logical. But on CEA is not paid, there's no logic to it. That money is not mine, it's yours. Yes, you had a question. Okay, have I answered? No,
and then another point here is that this online gaming, where even children also can.
Absolutely. First of all, there are 2-3 things. One is an emphatic yes to your question. You have to, if you play online games with money, even 10 rupees, you have to do your KYC. You have to have an Aadhaar card and you have to have a PAN card, right? Because the regulations of MeitY that were notified in March of 2023, regulations of MeitY notified in March of 2023 says that the KYC for any player on any platform will have to be of RBI standards. So your data is all there. Now so it's very easy to technology put, because your data on your Aadhaar card, your age and everything. First of all, a kid will not have an Aadhaar card or a PAN card. But even if he has got it for some reason, his age will be there, right? So you can do that. Not only do that, you can do more than that. If the mental health experts at AIMS or NIMHANS or wherever the respective institutes say that their studies show that if you play 14 hours a week, you can get addicted, or whether it's 8 hours or 14 hours or whatever that number is, we can actually, through the same technology, lock you out once you've clocked. So even addiction can be completely controlled and mitigated here, which you can't do in most other industries. There is no other industry in which you can do that. Alcohol industry, you can't do anything. Trans fats and fast food industry, you can't do anything except advisory. Here you can actually lock people out if the government says that as soon as the regulation, the hours that we have agreed with the government, he has crossed.
So my question here is,
Wrong figure. We don't have the figure of Meghalaya. We know that broadly it's already become the biggest market in the world at 500 million players. But I would suspect that if a good 40% of your people below the age of 30 will be playing online games in some form or the other, with money or without money.
and like you were talking about, like it is providing 2 lakhs job. Like in the state here, how much jobs do you think it could generate?
So today when you go to a place like Bangalore or even Delhi, Gurgaon or Noida, which are the hubs where these companies have been working, there are a huge lot of people from the Northeast. And I think IT and gaming has been one of the biggest drivers of making India cosmopolitan. Because earlier when you went to Karnataka or Bangalore, you only found Kannadigas. Or you come to Gurgaon, you only found Haryanvis. But because of these mega industries, now I think like I said, this is the biggest industry in the world today, and I told you it's 3x of movie and music put together, which is music and movie itself is very big. But it's already 3x and it will become 5x in the next 2 years at the rate it's growing. I think just like has happened in IT has come to the smaller towns. They started off in Bangalore and Noida, and then they looked at tier towns, Lucknow and Calcutta, and actually Calcutta is a metro. But they've gone to the smaller towns. Earlier they were only in Hyderabad, Kolkata, and Bangalore and Noida, etc. But now they've gone to Jaipur because the cost of these people is getting high. There's a lot of big companies pulling them all in Bangalore, and then one fellow is doing well and he's pulled to another company at a higher price, and the way the prices of the people is going up. So they've gone to tier 2 towns. That is going to happen on online gaming as well. Now, definitely I think a large number of people from Meghalaya would already be working in some of the larger gaming companies. I've seen them at Gamescraft, I've seen them at Dream 11. I don't know if they're from Meghalaya or Nagaland or which one, but there are lots of people from the Northeast working in the software and IT industry and in the gaming industry. But because of the size of this industry, the chances of these things percolating down to Meghalaya, etc., are higher than industries that are not so big. Right? I can't give you an exact date, but I'm saying it's only a 5-year-old industry in India, but it is so big that and the reason why SOJI is formed is to emphasize and make clear to the government that you cannot do knee-jerk decisions on this industry. It's too important to take knee-jerk reactions, because one knee-jerk reaction will make us lose the battle. You took the right decisions for IT, and today we are milking it after 30 years, even today. Take right decisions for this industry. Don't let the tail wag the dog. You know what happened? The tail was wagging the dog. What is the tail? The addiction. The dog is the big potential of this industry. The tail has been wagging the dog. The fact is that if the government talked to us before hitting us with this high taxation to curb addiction, which they think from a moral standpoint, we could have done it through technology. So we could still, the basic message that SOJI has for the government and for all of us is that this is too large an industry. You need the government, industry and experts like mental health experts, etc., need to come together. We need to talk together and come and formulate policy that maximizes the benefits of this big industry for India. We harness the full potential, at the same time mitigating the negatives. And this can be done in this new age industry. So that is what is the message of SOJI. The message of SOJI is we have become the repository of all information. And even for the new, they're going to do a review. My message to the government, which is printed in all the papers this morning, because I spoke to a lot of the Times of India, I spoke to Telegraph, etc. They've already printed, and I think those also press clips can be given to you all. Where I have my appeal to the government is review that you have agreed to give us is very good, because that's never been done before. Once the government decides a tax, they don't say we're going to review it, but the government has publicly announced that they will review it after the elections. I'm saying the revenue to the government would have gone up in this period because you have increased it 1000%. So the government is saying revenue from online gaming has increased since the tax rate was increased, and I'm saying it has to increase. You've increased it by 1000%, but is that limited ambition? Because what are you doing? By this huge tax increase, you are making the Indian market on a platter, giving it to the foreign companies. Because they're saying, come and play with us, and there's no border, you can't control them, you can't ban them. So they are not playing. We've been asked to provide papers for the government of India. The Vivekanand Foundation, I'll leave this with you all, the whole, which is a big government think tank, has put our article on their website. And this little note, which I'm leaving a few copies, you can have a look at, tells you the whole story about the industry, the positives and minuses. It's called the potential and challenges of the Indian online gaming industry. The potential and the challenges, the negatives and the positives. So they're all here. You can pick up a copy. I don't think I have enough copies for everyone, but Ahmad, whoever needs this, we can. The top 100 influencers of the government of India and other people. So right from the Prime Minister's office to everybody who's connected with being a regulator or who is a stakeholder gets a copy of this. So the first, the June issue, I think you're going to give them.
Yeah, that's the one which we will give.
Oh, you got a copy?
Yeah.
Okay. So that will be given to you.